This is a painful story. A story of how a simple man, who only wanted peace and food on his table, found himself holding the biggest secret of a rich family. A secret that could bless or destroy a whole village. Begins like a normal day, but by the time it ended, nothing was normal anymore. If you listen well, you will see why fear, love, and choices can change lives forever. Once upon a time in Lagos, there lived a man called Donald. He was a plumber, known all over his street for fixing broken pipes, repairing soakaways, and helping neighbors with his strong hands and calm heart. Donald was not rich, but he was proud of his work. Every morning, he woke up early, carried his worn-out toolbox, and left his small apartment with a smile. Donald believed in honesty. If a pipe was small, he charged a small fee. If it was big, he charged only what was fair. People trusted him because he never cheated anyone. Children in his neighborhood loved him because he always bought them Puff Puff after finishing a job. Donald had no wife, no children of his own yet, but he carried kindness like a father. One evening, just as the sun was falling, Donald received a call. The voice on the other end was soft, almost like a whisper. "Mr. Donald, please, I need your help. My house has a problem in the backyard." Donald wiped sweat from his forehead. The day had been long, but the woman's voice carried something unusual. Respect, but also sadness. He agreed. "Madam, send me the address." Within the hour, Donald stood before a mansion he had never seen before. Tall gates, heavy walls, and guards at the entrance. But the gates opened for him as if he had been expected. The woman who called was Mrs. Adabo. She was elegant, dressed in a long flowing gown, her face calm but her eyes carrying secrets. She welcomed Donald kindly. "Please follow me," she said softly. Donald entered the backyard, where a soakaway pit was covered by soil that looked disturbed, as if someone had tried to hide something there. She explained that water had been leaking, and she needed him to dig and fix it quickly. Donald bent down and began digging. The earth was soft, almost too soft, and after a few minutes his shovel struck something hard. Not cement. Not stone. Something else. He wiped the soil away, and there it was, a bottle. The bottle was not like any Donald had seen before. It was ornate, carved with strange symbols that seemed to move under the sunlight. A faint glow pulsed inside it. And inside the bottle, as impossible as it sounded, was the image of a man. The man's eyes looked straight at Donald, silently pleading for help. Donald froze. His heart raced. He whispered to himself, "What is this?" The air around him grew heavy. He felt a strange energy pressing against his chest. He looked back at the house. The woman, Mrs. Adabo, was watching him too carefully, her eyes too knowing. Fear and curiosity fought inside Donald. His hand shook, but quickly he wrapped the bottle in a cloth and hid it in his bag. He told himself it was better to keep it safe, better to find answers later. Donald finished his job and collected his small pay. Mrs. Adabo's smile was polite, but it did not reach her eyes. Back at his apartment that night, Donald sat in the dim light and pulled the bottle from his bag. The man inside it was moving now, his lips forming words. Donald leaned close, and though the sound was faint, he could hear. "Set me free." Donald's heart pounded. He felt pity, but at the same time a force inside his spirit warned him. Felt like danger was inside the bottle. "If my spirit does not feel safe setting you free, then you must be a bad person," Donald whispered. Slowly, he put the bottle back into his bag. But sleep did not come easily. That night, Donald dreamed. In the dream, the man inside the bottle stretched his hands through swirling mist. His voice was louder, begging. Yet another voice, older, heavier, warned Donald. "If you break the seal, you will doom the village." Donald woke up sweating, the bottle glowing faintly by itself. The next day, Donald returned to the mansion, pretending he wanted to check if the soakaway was stable. But in truth, his heart was fixed on the secret of the bottle. Inside the mansion, he saw a long wall filled with portraits, family pictures. Men and women painted in oil, dressed in fine clothes. Donald's eyes locked on one portrait. His blood ran cold. It was the same man from the bottle. He turned to Mrs. Adabo. "Madam, who is this?" She walked closer, her soft voice now carrying both pride and sorrow. "That is my son. His name is Kola." Donald's stomach tightened. He had found the truth. Donald was not a man to hold his words. He turned to her with boldness. "You must be a wicked mother to put your son inside a bottle." Her smile vanished. For the first time, her calm mask broke. Tears welled up in her eyes and her voice shook. "You don't understand, Mr. Donald. There was a prophecy that said my son would bring us wealth beyond measure, but also destruction. Said he would kill his father and defile our family. I was afraid. I loved him, but I feared what he would become." Her tears dropped on her gown as she continued. "On his 17th birthday, my husband died. Kola had been trying to reverse the car, and it crushed his father against the wall. Prophecy had begun. I could not watch the rest come true. The seer returned, and he gave me this bottle. I trapped Kola's spirit inside before he could destroy us all." Donald's mouth went dry. The truth pressed heavy on him. Was she a wicked mother or a desperate one? Was Kola innocent or truly cursed? The room grew quiet. Mrs. Adabo looked straight at Donald, her tears shining. "Tell me, am I still a bad mother?" Donald could not answer. His heart was torn in two. That night, the bottle glowed again. The man inside it, Kola, reached out in Donald's dreams. "Set me free," he whispered. But the voice of warning returned, louder this time. "If you break the seal, you will doom the village." At midnight, the bottle moved on its own. Donald sat awake, trembling, staring at it. His decision was coming closer. And deep inside, he knew this was only the beginning. Donald sat in the mansion's sitting room, staring at Mrs. Adabo. Her story had shaken him. The walls around them seemed to listen too. Her voice was low but carried the weight of a lifetime. "When Kola was born," she whispered, "we thought he was a blessing. My husband danced all night, calling him the future of the Adabo family. But then the seer came. He said Kola would rise to greatness, but his greatness would bring ruin. He said the boy's hands would one day drip with the blood of his own family." Her tears fell fast now. "I did not want to believe it. But when my husband died because of Kola's mistake, I broke. I feared what the rest of the prophecy meant." Donald swallowed hard. He wanted to shout that no mother should trap her child in a bottle. But another part of him wondered, what if she was right? What if Kola was meant to destroy everything? That night, back in his apartment, Donald could not sleep. The bottle sat on his table, glowing faintly. Kola's image looked at him, lips moving silently. Donald leaned close and heard it again. "Set me free." But the warning voice was there too, echoing in his chest. "If you break the seal, you will doom the village." Donald covered the bottle with a cloth. His head throbbed. His heart fought against itself. If I free him, I might be saving a man. But what if I'm releasing a curse? The next day, Donald returned to the mansion. He wanted to hear more. Mrs. Adabo took him to a smaller room filled with Kola's old belongings, school books, football shoes, trophies. "Kola was bright," she said, touching the edge of a dusty trophy. "He was top of his class. He loved football. He was kind to everyone. That's why I kept doubting the prophecy. But on his 17th birthday, the accident happened. He killed his father, even if he did not mean to. That night, I knew the prophecy had begun." Her face hardened. "I did not want to lose my family. I chose to trap him before the rest of the prophecy came true." Donald felt his chest tighten. Kola had once been just like any other boy. Kind, full of dreams. Could such a boy truly be cursed? Or was fear the true prison? Back in his apartment, Donald noticed something strange. The bottle no longer waited quietly. It moved. At night, it slid across the table. It rattled on its own. Sometimes, Donald heard whispers filling the room even when he was not near it. One evening, the bottle rolled toward him and stopped at his feet. Cola's image stared with desperation. "Free me. I am not evil. I only want to live." Donald picked it up, trembling. "If I free you, will you harm anyone?" The image shook its head. But Donald noticed something dark flicker in Cola's eyes before the bottle went still again. A few days later, Donald went back to the mansion. As he entered, he saw an old man sitting with Mrs. Adabo. His eyes were deep, his face lined with age. His voice was strong even though his body looked weak. "This must be the plumber," the old man said. "The one who found the bottle." Donald frowned. "Who are you?" "I am the seer," the old man replied. "I was the one who gave the bottle to Mrs. Adabo. And I was the one who warned her." Donald's heart pounded. The seer leaned forward. "You must not release the boy. If you do, the prophecy will finish itself. The wealth will come, but so will ruin. He will defile the family, and his hands will take more blood. The bottle is the only cage strong enough to stop him." Donald's hands clenched. But what if he is innocent? What if he is just a victim? The seer's eyes flashed. "Then let his innocence remain in the bottle. Better to keep one life trapped than to risk the lives of many." Donald left the mansion with his head spinning. The words of Mrs. Adabo, the cries of Cola, the warnings of the seer, they battled in his mind. That night, the bottle shook violently on his table. It glowed so brightly that Donald thought it might burst open on its own. Cola's voice was louder than ever. "Donald, please, I beg you. My mother lied. I am not cursed. Don't believe them. Set me free." Donald covered his ears, but the voice pushed into his soul. He shouted back, "If I set you free and you destroy lives, will your soul rest?" There was silence. Cola only stared. Donald's heart dropped. Strange things started happening in the area. The market, traders complained of shadows moving even when the sun was bright. Children fell sick suddenly, with fevers no doctor could explain. Chickens and goats died overnight. People whispered of a curse spreading. Donald wondered if it was because he had disturbed the bottle. Was the evil leaking out already? Or was the bottle trying to force him to open it? His chest felt heavy each time he passed his neighbors. He feared their smiles would soon turn to hatred if they discovered what he carried. One night, Donald sat alone. The bottle pulsed with light, almost like a heartbeat. His dreams had grown darker. Cola now appeared not as a boy, but as a man wrapped in shadows, standing on a throne of bones. But sometimes the dream showed him differently, Cola smiling, holding his father's hand, laughing like a boy again. Donald woke up with tears. He did not know which version was real. At midnight, the bottle rolled off the table and cracked the floor. Donald jumped to his feet. The glow was now so bright it lit the whole room. Cola's voice thundered. "Donald, choose. Free me or let me rot in here forever." Donald trembled. His hands reached for the bottle. His spirit screamed against itself. He knew, whether he freed Cola or left him inside, the world around him would never be the same again. The days that followed were strange and heavy. The bottle no longer stayed quiet in Donald's room. At night it hummed, shaking the walls. His neighbors began to notice strange things too. A woman on his street lost her child suddenly. A trader at the market fainted, screaming about a man trapped in a bottle. Donald felt fear crawl through his veins. He hid the bottle under his bed, but it was useless. The whispers always found him. "If you don't free me," Cola's voice pressed, "I will make everyone suffer until you do." Donald clutched his head. "But if I free you, will you kill? Will you harm?" Cola's image smiled this time. I only want my life back. Trust me. But Donald's spirit trembled. The smile did not feel pure. Soon, the villagers began to murmur about Donald. They said he was hiding something, that darkness followed him. Some avoided him on the road. Others watched him with suspicion. One evening, as he returned from work, children ran away from him, whispering, "He is the man carrying the curse." Donald's chest ached. All his life, he had been a man of honor, trusted and loved. Now mistrust was all around him. And it was all because of the bottle. Donald returned to the mansion one last time. Mrs. Adabo looked older, weaker. She held his hands with trembling fingers. "Donald, my son's voice must be louder now, even to you. But you must not let him out. Prophecy will destroy us all. I did what I did to save this family." Her tears wet Donald's hands. "I loved him, Donald. But sometimes love means making choices that look cruel." Donald pulled his hands away. "Or maybe it means trusting too much in fear." Her eyes widened. "If you set him free, you will not only betray me, you will betray everyone in this village." That night, Donald could no longer rest. The bottle rolled to the center of his room, glowing like fire. Cola's image filled the glass, larger than ever, his eyes burning. "Enough, Donald. Choose now. Free me, or I will curse you until your last breath." Donald's hands shook as he lifted the bottle. The glow blinded him. His spirit screamed warnings. But his heart, heavy with pity, whispered maybe he deserves another chance. Donald slammed the bottle against the ground. It shattered. Smoke burst from the pieces. A strong wind filled the room. Donald stumbled back as the figure of a man rose from the mist. It was Cola. First, he looked young again, his face filled with relief. "Thank you, Donald. You saved me." But then his smile stretched too wide. His eyes darkened. Shadows crawled across his body. His voice deepened into a growl. "You fool. Now the prophecy will live again." Before Donald could move, Cola vanished into the night. The village changed quickly. Wealth poured into Mrs. Adabo's house, gold, money, lands. But along with it came death. Chickens, goats, even people began to die in strange accidents. Women wept for lost children. Men quarreled and killed each other over riches they could not explain. Mrs. Adabo locked herself in her room, wailing, "It has begun! The prophecy has begun!" Donald walked through the streets with shame heavy on his back. People looked at him with hate now. They whispered he freed the curse. He had once been trusted. Now he was despised. One night, Cola came to Donald in a dream. His face was dark, his smile cruel. "You thought you were saving me, but you saved only destruction. Your pity made you blind." Donald fell to his knees. "Why? Why did you trick me?" Cola's laughter echoed like thunder. "Because I could. And because you wanted to believe in the good that never existed." The dream faded, but the guilt never left. Donald stopped going to the mansion. He stopped going to the market. People no longer called him for work. He lived in silence, mistrusted by all. Mrs. Adabo herself never forgave him. Each time she saw him, her eyes filled with fire and grief. "You were supposed to help me carry my secret," she spat one day. "Instead, you broke it." Donald could only bow his head. The choice he made could never be undone. This is how Donald's story ended, in sadness, mistrust, and regret. And from his pain, we learn a lesson. Fear can blind us, and pity can deceive us. But the greatest mistake is ignoring the voice inside that warns us of danger. Not everyone who begs for help is telling the truth. Always listen to your heart when it warns you. Secrets and lies only bring more pain. If you have not subscribed to my channel, you might not hear my voice again, but if you are, then you are growing every day. Check my page for more interesting stories. Thanks for watching.